So then there arose individuals in the Jewish world who felt that they could decipher the ambiguous portions of what is contained in the Mishnah in a way that others could understand. Actually, this is the main reason that the oral law was ultimately meant to remain oral, because right when it began to be disconnected from the oral line of transmission, many portions of it began to be misunderstood incorrectly and began to be interpreted in different ways, which is why we have different groups in the Jewish world that have different customs. It's not that they are following a different oral law, but rather that they are following a different interpretation of the same oral law that all of Orthodoxy follows. This is actually where the notion of a Posek comes into play. Now, a Posek is literally someone who puts a stop to something for their community. Someone that would put an end to the arguing and say, we will do it like this or that way. Now, the truth is that in halakha, there really is no such position of a Posek. Now, I know that the term exists today, but historically, Chazal never allowed for such a position outside of the Beit Din HaGadol itself. In other words, no one could say that you're not a Posek or he's not a Posek, but nonetheless, it is a position that has arisen because of need. So if you are a respected leader with a community that relies on your knowledge regarding Mishnaic literature to guide them, then you have become a Posek. Honestly, this role of a local Posek is really a post-Rishonic invention. Actually, it was the Rishonim attempting to mimic the work of the previous Geonim, who as the heads of the two Babylonian yeshivot became the religious heads of the Jewish world and thus began to have their opinions overly venerated. In other words, before the Rishonim took upon themselves this role, which again they invented for themselves, every Jew was free to understand the Gemara how he or she saw fit. And act accordingly. Because the truth is that Torah Sheba'al Peh, if one really only limits it to Mishnaic literature alone, is really, my friends, not so vast. However, nowadays with all the commentaries in Kabbalah, we think that we would be lost without poskim. And friend, this is not true.